On News for a Great Day. Okay, how desperate are you to travel again? Would you give up your job for it? How about your relationship? A surprising number of people say, yes, I would. Details on that survey coming up.
And what do you think 5 years of housework is worth? Well, a court in China just put a number on it. This is going to be a lively discussion.
Teeth. They're getting more expensive. So just how much is the tooth fairy shelling out per tooth?
Ooh.
You need to stay tuned for the answer, but I will tell you this. It's the most in almost 23 years.
And it's more than what's happening in my house. And we're talking about stress eating because, come on, we've all experienced it, maybe in the last few months, right? How do you overcome that? We have advice from a dietitian straight ahead on News for a Great Day.
It's a new day, nothing in a way. This is the start of something big.
Good morning, happy Wednesday, and welcome to News for a Great Day, guys. National Tortilla Chip Day.
Ooh.
Where's
I
my
had some
chips?
tortilla
We've
chips
made it.
yesterday. Now I guess I'll have to have some more today.
I had tortilla chips yesterday, too.
Did you?
Do you
Creepy.
think it's odd, though, that this is on a Wednesday when we just had National Margarita Day on Monday?
It would make more sense if it was on Taco Tuesday.
Right. But also, have you guys ever tried the lime tortilla chips?
Yeah.
They are just
They're
delightful.
kind of addictive.
Yeah, they are.
It's
It's
a
one of those
problem.
things that you can't eat just one.
No.
At first you're like, ew.
Yeah. That's what I stress ate during the pandemic, lime tortilla chips.
Okay.
So good. We do want to hear from all of you on Twitter. What is your favorite tortilla chip? Please let us know. Tweet us at News for a Great Day. And as always, use that hashtag GDSTL.
Yes, and before we get on with business, we need to check in with Paige Halsey, who is patiently waiting in the News 4 studio next door with all of today's important headlines. Everything that you need to know before moving forward.
That's right. I have it all for you. Starting with Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine, it is now one step closer to getting approved. Early this morning, the FDA staff released a new analysis of the vaccine saying it is safe, and they endorsed its approval. So that means it's likely the FDA Advisory Committee will recommend to approve it. They'll meet next on Friday. The vaccine could be authorized by the end of the week. Now, this one is less effective than the two vaccines approved right now, but it still prevented deaths associated with COVID-19, and it is easier to ship and store than the current vaccines being used in the U.S. St. Louis County now has thousands more vaccines in stock. Yesterday, it received a shipment of 6,000 doses plus 3,000, which were delayed last week because of the weather. The county health department says it intends to administer 6,000 first doses and 3,000 second doses over the next 7 days. The ultimate goal is to administer 10,000 doses every week. There is hope that most will be vaccinated by summer, but that doesn't mean that school will be back to normal by fall. Tonight, the Parkway Board of Education will meet to discuss the future of virtual learning in the district. Rockwood and Wentzville school districts are already planning to at least offer a virtual option for students in the fall. Some parents tell us they want their children in the classroom, but with kids still not able to be vaccinated, other parents are still cautious.
We are definitely looking into, offering another option to our families for a full virtual opportunity and learning experience in grades K through 12. I think partly because there is still going to be, some degree of uncertainty in terms of the pandemic. And, there are still some of our families with health and safety concerns.
Parents in the Wentzville School District have to make a choice this week on what their kids plan to do next school year. It's obviously hard to know what the world is going to look like in 6 months from now, but I think we're all hoping for the best.
Well, and I think we have a little clearer picture now than maybe, during last school year when we didn't know when this thing was or if it was even going to. So let me ask you something. You too, Paige.
Okay.
Are you registered in several different places for the vaccine?
Yep.
Paige, you too?
Lots of waiting lists.
Okay, so you're on all these lists.
Yeah.
You get a call and they say, congratulations, your number's up. We are going to vaccinate you on Saturday. We got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine down here. We'll need you at 2 o'clock for your appointment. And you're already registered in other ones, and you know that this one's a lot less effective, or at least less effective. Do you say, you know what, I'm going to hold out for a Moderna? But thanks,
Well, I think we have to look at the additional data, right? So when we say it's effective, mostly we're talking about against serious complications.
Right.
But all three of these, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, have all prevented all deaths within a certain time period after being administered. So I think you have to keep in mind that additional data and what your goal of being vaccinated really is.
Well, ultimately, it's surviving, isn't
Right.
it? But I mean, you also don't want to spread it. You don't want to get anybody else sick, and you'd rather not get sick. I mean, I got a friend in Florida who's just coming off a week, and he was a fairly young, healthy guy, and he just was,
Laid out.
All right. Thank you, Paige.
See you in a bit.
All right. Well, it's time for Coffee Talk, and we are now a full year into this pandemic, and one thing most of us have not done is travel. So we want to know, what would you give up to travel again? Because there's a new survey that's getting some pretty interesting responses. The survey from Trivago found that 38% of Americans would give up bedroom intimacy. You know where we're going with this?
Where, Kent?
Bedroom intimacy.
Intimacy.
Okay.
They would give it up for a year if they could travel.
That's just bedroom, though.
Well,
right?
if I'd have known that a year ago when I gave it up,
Hey-oh.
I got nothing out of the deal.
Oh my God.
1 in 5 people said they would dump their partner altogether for a chance to travel. You're engaged.
I'm not going to dump Mark. I'm fine
Matt?
with hanging out in St. Louis.
I'm thinking it over. No, of course not.
Never say never.
Of course
A
not.
quarter of the people surveyed said that they would sacrifice all of their savings, and nearly half would give up their
No,
jobs.
come on.
The
Stop
savings
it.
is probably the most outlandish to me.
Because
Well,
then, how do you travel?
Right.
You got no money. I don't.
Well, here's the thing. People respond to these things, but then when it comes right down to it,
Right.
if they
They
say, okay,
actually
well, give
gonna
me
do
all
it?
your savings, and
Well,
you're going to
that's-
Branson for the weekend. You go,
Well, now that I've had a chance to think it
yeah,
over.
maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But I think we're pretty desperate at this point.
That's the
Everybody
bottom
is.
line. We're ready. We're
Yeah.
ready.
And we're found creative ways, right? Everybody has found creative ways to get out and do things, short-term things, and day trips and such that look a little different than what we would have done in the
It
past.
can be done safely.
It can be, yes. That brings us to our Facebook question, brought to you by Jacob's Sunrooms, Exteriors and Baths. They must be so proud over there at Jacob's. So, what's going on with you in the bedroom? That's what we want to know.
No.
That's not it?
No,
That's
no.
not
Oh, what would you give up to travel again? Keep it, I'll say PG, not G, but keep it
That
PG.
feels right.
Bonus points for where you would like to go.
Honestly, because for me, traveling just brings up awful feelings of anxiety with airplanes. I haven't really missed it that
Right.
much over the last year.
But then, but for every Laura Hediger, there's a Kristen Cornett
Oh,
who's
yeah,
like,
who's
that's
like-
her
That's true.
super
passion.
wanderlust
sit
and
on the
needs to
wing.
see the world.
Yeah, right.
And I'm fine watching
You got a
TV.
jump seat? I'm good. Across the Atlantic on a jump seat? You
Bring it.
betcha.
Yep.
I'll follow your flight on Flight Tracker. That's what makes me comfortable. Well, friends, getting serious for a moment, divorces are awful. I think most people can agree with that, but I bet one ex-wife in China is waking up with a little satisfaction today after a landmark case where the court said her now ex-husband must pay her for her years of unpaid housework. This case has sparked a furious debate in China over a new civil code that just went into effect this year. It says that divorcing spouses have the right to ask for compensation if they bore more responsibilities at home. So according to this former wife, she says that she was married for 5 years, she took care of their child, and she managed everything in the house. She says her then husband really didn't care about or help her with anything around the home or that much with their child. So this Chinese court ruled in her favor, saying she should receive the equivalent of $8,000 for her years of work while at home. She also gets sole custody of their child, and she will receive a monthly alimony. Let's go back though to her payment. $8,000 for 5 years of work.
No, that's not. That's $8,000 cash for 5 years of work plus alimony. Alimony is
The
based
alimony,
on your.
the alimony in this is very small.
Well, but it adds up over a period of years.
It does, but that.
And you're not doing the work then.
Well, this has sparked even more backlash in China with over 570 million views on the Chinese equivalent of Twitter. That is huge. Some people are saying women should never be a stay-at-home wife now because they would basically be left with nothing based on this case. Someone else has said a full-time nanny.
She won. They're saying
someone else has said a full-time nanny would make more than that in just half a year.
True.
So they have a very hard time with the amount.
Okay.
They like
it's hard
that
for
this
me to
is
say
now
is that $8,000 in our
in
world?
hours. In hours, it was 50,000.
That's like an unsigning bonus.
So,
Well done.
But that is the
Indeed.
biggest question. And when I pitched this story this morning in the Great Day office, Matt's first question was, 5 or 8,000 for 5
For 5 years?
of work?
You know how many Americans would pay somebody $8,000 to take care
Right.
of their house over
And their
5
kids?
years?
Yeah.
A lot of people would.
Right. But I mean, and I'm not arguing that, but the alimony is also payment down the road for that. And so there's a total accumulation.
Sure.
I don't know, we don't know how old they are. I mean, if he's paying alimony for life, she's going to get hundreds of thousands of dollars for that time that she spent with him.
So the new code, Laura, like the new part of this, the new Chinese law, is that the spouse who is responsible for most of the work at home
Gets back
is
paid.
entitled now to. So this was really kind of the first time a judge had to put a number on that?
Yes, and it just went into effect this year in 2021. So it's
Interesting.
I think it's very interesting.
It is very interesting because I still stand by. I think it's more of a bonus than anything else because that's what alimony is back pay for being involved and contributing to the relationship when somebody else perhaps was the provider.
Never really thought about it
Yeah.
that way. Interesting. All right. While so many have suffered economically during this pandemic, there is no question that some industries have thrived. Think about it. Toilet paper manufacturers, streaming services, the tooth fairy. You heard correctly. Teeth, as it turns out, are getting more expensive. In fact, that molar moolah, those bicuspid bucks, are hitting, I'll stop. They're hitting record
doubt it.
levels, my friends. Delta Dental found that the tooth fairy is now shelling out about $4.70 per tooth. That's the average. And that is the most in the 23-year history of the tooth fairy poll. The previous high was $4.66 back in 2017. The poll also found that the average price per tooth, not surprisingly, varies across different regions of the country.
So I will say that as I am becoming a stepmom, I have talked to the tooth fairy a couple of times. But I would like from the expert parents over here to let me know what the tooth fairy brings in your homes.
Well, if you talk to the tooth fairy, what did the tooth fairy tell you?
She told me $5.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Well, you don't have, let's see, how many teeth are in a mouth? 30, 34?
See,
30?
give, take, yeah, something.
And
Yeah,
get
but you
what?
don't lose
6
all
kids?
of
I can't even do that. I need a slide
That's
rule.
190 something times 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's not going to work for him.
$48,000 is the rough. So here in my house,
He's getting $529 for the teeth.
that's right. Yes. In my house, the tooth fairy's not hitting the 470 mark, but I'll tell you what she does do that I think is interesting. While the amount may be smaller, there's usually something special about the coins. It's a Sacagawea dollar, or it's a Kennedy half dollar, or something like that. So
I think I had this same tooth fairy in Illinois because she did that when I was growing
Okay.
up too.
So
For
they
my
probably
sister.
have
What I hate
regions.
is when
It
it's
must
8
be a
o'clock at
Missouri
night and say,
thing.
hey, tooth fairy tonight, and I go, oh, I got 20.
that's,
What?
we're going to discuss this on today's Great Day Extra Live. Today's GDXL kicks off on Great Day's Facebook page. I'm just thinking about the tooth fairy shaking down Kent Earhart. That's about 10:15 this morning. Join us, chime in, tell us what the going rate in your tooth fairy sector is. GDXL is brought to you by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
Still ahead on Great Day, chances are you have probably heard someone talk in their sleep before, but have you ever thought to talk back to them? Maybe you should, because apparently people can hold a conversation when they are dreaming.
Been there, done that.
Okay.
Recently.
Well, good. We're going to have much more from the sleep expert, Kent, coming up.
And so now you know 4 people who have gotten the COVID-19 vaccine, and maybe you're feeling a little envy about it. Don't worry about that. It's normal. We're going to give you some tips to overcome that vaccine envy when Great Day returns.
Wake up, St. Louis. Have you ever heard someone talk in his or her sleep? Well, turns out you may be able to communicate with that person in real time, even when they are dreaming. Experts from Northwestern University, also France, Germany, and the Netherlands all teamed up to conduct, well, actually, they didn't team up because they did separate experiments. Sorry. Scientists found people having lucid dreams, it is good, could follow instructions to do simple mathematical equations and also answer yes or no questions.
Can't do that when I'm awake.
Yeah, right.
They also found they responded to sensory stimulation, including touching, beeping noises, and flashing lights. The teams hope their findings will help further research on memory, nightmare therapy, spiritual development, and more. The study was published just last week in the journal Current Biology. Do you guys have any experience with talking with sleeping beauties?
Well, when you put it that way, it just sounds creepy.
I do. I mean, I just, the way you put that, the way it's framed, it's.
I thought that was good. That was ad-lib.
Katie will sit up in bed sometimes and go, like that, and I can't understand what she says, but then she'll lay back down and I'll say, oh, all right, well, how much is that? Like that, and then off she goes again. And then,
yeah.
And I'll say something. I'll say the next day, did you know we had a little mini conversation last night?
She's like, no.
Huh?
What are you talking about?
No, I don't.
I agree too.
I don't think she believes me either. I think she thinks I'm making it up.
I've had similar events with Stephanie. The weird thing is she's understandable, but it's just kind of gibberish. Like she'll say something about the brakes on her car.
Right.
And if you try to engage, it'll be like, well, should we get that fixed? And then it'll be something like, no, we should have a picnic. Like,
no, right.
Like it just doesn't, there's no storyline.
Yeah, one time I got it, don't forget the fabric softener.
Yeah.
Well, did you forget it the next time you went to the store?
I felt like I already had, and it was overwhelming her dreams. She was so upset about it.
It weighed on her. All right, it didn't start like this, but when the first picture popped up on social media of that person you know getting the COVID-19 vaccine, you felt excited for them, right? Well, now that we're months into the vaccine rollout, when you see the same kind of photo, there's a little bit of envy that sneaks into the cerebellum there. Don't feel bad about that, because according to mental health experts, that's a normal feeling. So here's some tips to navigate vaccine envy from USA Today. First of all, recognize you're not a bad person for feeling this way, but it is important to distinguish between envy and resentment. Big difference there. Don't place blame or get angry at your friend who is a nurse who received the vaccine, because that's going to cause you more stress. If you're feeling excluded from people in your group because they've gotten the vaccine and you haven't, don't disconnect. Instead, tell them how you're feeling about it. Tell the group that so that they can offer support. And finally, this is a hard one. Try to reframe your thinking. Forgive yourself if you need to. Negativity towards yourself does not promote mental well-being, and it can have a negative effect on your immune systems even. But self-forgiveness can actually be quite healing.
So if it doesn't mean I'm not a bad person because I didn't get the vaccine?
You're not a bad person because
you're jealous.
You feel envious that other people did get the vaccine.
Then why am I a bad person?
Well, this is only an hour long.
Right, we're off the air at 10, Kent. You know that's... You don't have time for that.
Still ahead on this here show, we've all been there, eating that extra cookie or digging into a big bag of tortilla chips on National Tortilla Chip Day. Because we're stressed and we're eating at work. But the truth is, you're not doing your body any favors. So how can you overcome stress eating? Some advice from a calm dietitian is coming up next.
And many of you might be feeling lonely right now, so pick up the phone and call a family member or a close friend. That could really help you. A new study shows talking to an empathetic listener for 10 minutes just a few times a week lowers feelings of loneliness by 20%. This study just appeared in the Journal of Psychiatry and also found talking on the phone can decrease anxiety and depression by 30%. So make that call today, friends. Great day. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. All right, reality check. We've all heard phrases like feeding your feelings or eating your emotions. What does that really mean? And is feeding your feelings always a bad thing? Is there something we should be doing about it? Rabia Rahman is an assistant professor of nutrition and dietetics at St. Louis University. She joins us now for Dietitian Talk with some tips to manage your emotional eating. Rabia, it's great to see you. I hope you're well.
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing fine. This is a topic that I think this coronavirus has brought to the forefront for many of us. You know what I'm talking about.
For a lot of us, for sure.
So how do we first go about identifying things that might be triggering this emotional eating? Because I feel like that's an important part of this.
I think it is. But before we even go there, I just want to point out that it is perfectly normal if you, in the short term, use food to cope with some of your emotions. It's when we find ourselves consistently eating for reasons other than our hunger, that's when it becomes harmful to both our physical and our mental health. So I don't want anybody to think anytime they're, coping with food, it's a negative thing. It's when it becomes a pattern that it becomes a little bit more problematic.
I'm glad you said that. So common examples of some of these triggers could be what?
Like, are you bored? That's a very common one. Are you experiencing any sort of anxiety? Of course, we're seeing that with coronavirus. Did you have a fight with a partner? Did you get a poor evaluation? These tend to be the very common triggers. And it seems really easy to say, well, figure out what your triggers are and then just try to avoid them or find some other way to cope. But it's not that easy for a lot of us, right? We have to stop and really take stock of, what is triggering that response? Why am I reaching for that food?
Sure. And these trigger moments are going to happen. I mean, it's a part of the human condition, right? So one of the things you say is that we can try to practice mindfulness. How do we do that when it comes to our eating?
So practicing mindfulness includes so many different practices, but some of the things that we can start right away is if you find yourself walking to the kitchen, first, stop and ask yourself, am I really hungry? If you're feeling that physical hunger, keep on walking to the kitchen and feed yourself, feed your hunger. But if you're not, think about if there's something else you can do to distract yourself. And when you are eating, you can practice mindfulness. And what that means is turn off all the distractions, turn off your TV, put away your phone, and really focus on what you're eating so you can think about your hunger and your fullness cues.
In this line of work, we love to complain about our sleep habits. It's like a pastime around here. Does sleep factor into this at all?
Sleep plays a huge role. There is a well-established link between our eating habits and our sleep. So the less we sleep, the more likely we are to snack and the more likely we are to consume more calories overall. So getting enough sleep, 7 to 8 hours a night, is very, very important.
And skipping meals, I have a feeling you're going to tell me, can backfire big time, right?
Yeah, so this is the point that I cannot stress enough, because it's natural to think, well, if we're overeating, let's just stop eating.
Right.
But what happens is that plays an impact on our emotions because it deregulates our blood sugars, right? So we see a lot of swings in our blood sugars, and we're more likely to eat when we're not hungry, when it really just is alterations in our blood sugar.
And I'll end where she began. It's okay once in a while. You just have to keep tabs on it. Rabia, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We're going to post this segment on our website, kmov.com/greatday, right after the show.
Good advice right there. All right, coming up during the second half of Great Day, America's CEOs are the most confident they've been in 17 years. But how can that be while millions of workers remain jobless? We're going to dive into that discussion a little later.
And we all love a good manicure, but we all know they can be pricey, especially when you get them kind of a lot. But you also know how much we love a good deal. So when we came across a $10 mani hack, we said, oh, this is going on Great Day.
What's a mani hack?
Stay tuned.
Oh.
It's after the break.
Okay.
It's a new day, nothing in our way. This is the start of something big.
Welcome back to News 4 Great Day. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's weather, and today almost as nice.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Thank you for the tweets, by the way. We always love it when you're exchanging information with us while we're on the air. Makes it feel cool. As always, use the hashtag GDSTL on Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram under the username News 4 Great Day.
Just don't follow us home.
You can, but you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not
you
what you
are.
They'll get you at the gate.
Yeah.
I don't have a gate, but I will have to turn around and go to the police
Right.
department right away. Well, before we do get back to our coffee talk, let's check in with News 4's Paige Halsey with a look at today's headlines. And Paige, something that everyone really is talking about. So what's going on with Tiger Woods?
Yeah, this is a worldwide story at this point, and we continue to follow the very latest on Tiger Woods after he got into that very serious car crash yesterday. Overnight, doctors did give an update saying he was awake and recovering after that emergency surgery. Doctors had to insert a rod into his tibia or his shin bone, and they had to stabilize his foot and ankle with screws and pins. Here's pictures of the crash. Deputies say that crash happened on a road known for speeding. His vehicle rolled over several times.
Front end was totally destroyed. The bumpers, everything was destroyed. Airbags deployed, all of that. The interior was more or less intact, which kind of gave him the cushion to survive what's otherwise would have been a fatal crash.
But Woods did have to be pulled out through the front windshield. The LA County Sheriff said it was nothing short of a miracle that he survived. Today, the Missouri Senate will discuss a bill that would prohibit cities from banning certain dog breeds. A similar bill failed to pass last year and back in 2017 as well. The Missouri Senate has worked late into the night, 2 nights in a row now. Overnight, lawmakers tabled an education reform bill after nearly 12 hours of debate. That bill would have expanded charter schools in the state. Hey, we are seeing more progress at the construction site of the future MLS stadium in downtown West. Take a look at these pictures. They were just shared by City Scene STL, showing the construction there near Union Station. You can now see the outline of the stadium really starting to take shape, as well as the front rows of the stands. And now we'll show you what the finished product will look like in a couple of years. The south side of Market Street will feature an outdoor pavilion, practice fields, and team offices. The project's still on track to be completed in time for the team's opening season in 2023. Exciting stuff. It looks great.
Cool. It really does. It looks like we could actually, if we went down there, we could probably play soccer.
They might not let you break in.
Because I never played soccer before. I don't know why.
And that never stopped Kent before from trying something.
You're right.
Speaking of those gates.
Thank you, Paige.
Yep.
Well, 2020 was a nightmare for millions of us. I include myself in that group in the American workforce. Furloughs, layoffs, reductions in force, all of it. But the heads of some of America's biggest companies say they are the most confident that they have been in 17 years. So how are workers and CEOs on such different pages? Well, some financial experts say this disconnect is more proof of a K-shaped recovery happening in the United States, meaning some Americans are doing really well with major improvements while many others are greatly suffering. Well, let's talk about CEOs and their perspective. They believe the potential for layoffs is lower in 2021. 82% of CEOs also expect the economy to improve over the next 6 months. Add in the stock market near record highs, vaccine rollout, the hope for another round of government stimulus, housing bubble. It all sounds good, but we'll just have to wait and see. We were talking about this, Matt and I, that just the difference in opinions of what you hear from people. Some people say we're on the brink of a total collapse. Others are like, oh, man, this is going to get good. So I don't know what to believe anymore.
And at the end of the day, Laura, don't you think you just boil it down to what your experience has been like? And if you've had a very rough, you've had a very rough financial experience, you think, well, the world is on fire. And if you've gotten a raise in the last 12 months, you're thinking, what's the problem?
Yeah,
things are great.
good.
But some people have seen a little bit of everything too.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen when it first started off, maybe things were going really well for you because you were in some business that thrived off it, but then that collapses or whatever. I mean, I just want to get past
I don't
this.
think anybody knows. And yeah, we just want to get past it. Yeah.
I'm right there with you, except I'm now over here because I am joining you from the Beck Allen Cabinetry Closet, because if you like having your nails done, sometimes you pick your outfit around the color on your nails. Maybe I've done that 1 or 2 times, but if you're anything like me, you don't love spending too much on a manicure. So how does a $10 mani hack sound? Kent said, what is a mani hack? Here you go, Kent.
What is a mani hack?
Manicure hack. Say hello to the Queen Peel Off Cuticle Guard. I put the name on your screen because you're probably like, why'd you do sorry? Has nearly 5,000 perfect reviews on Amazon, with people saying it is a total game changer for all the do-it-yourselfers out there. One reviewer said it is perfect for those of us who have shaky hands. Thank you, because I do. So here's what you do. You brush the special latex paint on the outside of your nail, and then you apply a tape over it. You let everything dry before you peel off that paint again on your skin on the outside of your nail, and then the tape remains only on your nail. Right now it is less than $10 on Amazon. Again, it is the Queen Peel Off Cuticle Guard. Guys, I had a major disaster attempt of doing my own manicure in April of last year during the pandemic, and I paid for that for months. My nails were ruined. I wish I would have tried this because I think this is pretty genius.
So here's what I'm getting.
Yes.
Painter's tape, basically.
It's painter's
tape for your nails?
fingernails.
How, if you can't paint your nails without going over the lines, what makes you think you're going to be able to paint your cuticles around the outside of the nail without going over the lines?
I think it would be a bit easier to hit that because you can go out super far. My problem, and most people's, when they try to paint their own nails, it gets all over here. So if we're allowed to go super far around,
Okay.
I don't know, I think it'd be okay. I'm just saying I'll try it.
Okay. Well, let us know how that works out for you.
Okay.
Let's send a camera crew. We're all big fans of Cardinals here in St. Louis, whether it's the iconic birds on the bat or the bright red birds that you might have seen frolicking in your backyard snow a few days ago. But a longtime bird watcher in Pennsylvania recently spotted a cardinal that is unlike any he had ever seen before. Same goes for me too. You take a look and tell me what you think. According to Jamie Hill, check that out. That cardinal right there is what you call a bilateral gynandromorph.
Oh, yeah.
On his Facebook page, Hill describes it as, quote, a bird divided right down the middle, half male and half female. And not just the coloring. This bird is literally half male and half female. For those that may not know, male cardinals have the bright red feathers, while females are that pale brown that you see on the right side of that picture there. So Hill managed to capture these photographs last Saturday behind a residence southeast of Erie. He's not disclosing the exact location because he doesn't want other birders to flock to this home. This is somebody's private residence. He says, in theory, this bird could mate with either a male or female cardinal, depending on which of its hormones were active during the mating season. Guys, it's a thing. Experts say that these kinds of birds are not unheard of, but they're quite uncommon.
It's beautiful.
So many things.
There are a lot of questions.
Yeah. If that bird could talk.
Do we have to worry about how we refer to it? Its pronoun?
We're going to call it and we're going to move forward. Still ahead on News for a Great Day, Kent has a look at the weather.
And it's a good look. Lots of sunshine again today. Not quite as warm, but we'll have an update on that forecast heading toward the weekend. Stay with us for more News for a Great Day.
Welcome back to News for a Great Day. Many of you know that February is American Heart Month, which is a time when all of us should really focus on our cardiovascular health. And we are happy to have Dr. Paul Robiolio with us today. He is a cardiologist at St. Luke's Hospital in Chesterfield, and he is here to talk about coronary artery disease, which, doctor, is actually the most common type of heart disease.
It is. And Heart Month is a good time, I think, to reflect on the fact that heart disease is also the number one, menace. It's the number one cause of mortality, number one cause of deaths in the United States. So we're very focused on the pandemic, and appropriately so. But even in the setting of the pandemic, where that's moved up to about second or third on the list in 1 year, heart disease still trumps that in terms of the number of deaths we're faced with, even with all the things we have going for us to treat it nowadays. So yeah, it's a good time to reflect on that and what we can do to prevent it and to treat it.
What exactly is coronary artery disease?
It's, if you think of the pipes, the arteries that bring blood to your whole body, there's a set of smaller pipes that bring blood to the heart. The heart actually needs oxygen and nutrients to do its job of pumping blood to the rest of the body. And those little arteries can become obstructed. Just like any pipe, if you obstruct the flow and you can't get oxygen and nutrients to the heart will be damaged or at least prevented from doing its job. And that's what coronary artery disease. It's the buildup of disease in the walls of those pipes, those coronary arteries, that leads to pain in the chest. And we can talk about some of the different symptoms, but it leads to the demise of the heart, leads to the dysfunction of the heart.
Let's definitely get into the common symptoms and also the risk factors for this.
The cardinal symptom is what we call angina, chest pain. And of course, your chest can hurt for lots of different reasons. So, one of the first things we always try to decide when we see, and we spend a lot of our time in cardiology taking care of people with chest pain, is, what is the cause of the chest pain? Your skin can hurt, your muscles, your bones, your esophagus, your swallowing pipe, your lungs. But of course, the thing we worry about the most, because it poses the most risk to our life, is chest pain coming from heart blockage, heart disease. And that, it varies, but in how different people perceive it. But it typically is a squeezing, gripping pain in the center of the chest, and it typically comes on with exertion. As the arteries in the heart start to block, there's enough blood flow when you're sitting still, but as you try to get up and walk, or more importantly, exercise or exert yourself, there's not enough flow through that partially blocked artery, and people will experience the symptom, in this case, chest pain.
We only have time to barely scratch the surface of this, but it's such an important conversation to have for all of our viewers out there. And for more information or to connect with any of the amazing cardiologists over at St. Luke's, visit stluke's-stl.com/heartshealth or call the number on your screen. It is 314-205-6801.
Thank you, Laura. Great info there. They can't all be yesterday, weather-wise, but today's going to be close.
Spring for a day.
Yeah.
That's what we called it. But today's pretty nice. I think you're going to like it. We're going to check out the forecast for the rest of the week and those rain chances and temperatures coming up. But first, here's today's local steals and deals.
I want you to see this because it is my favorite thing. Okay, so recently I was looking for machine washable carpets in my house because I like things to be clean, and that's not easy, right? I couldn't really find anything, and then guess who we started partnering with on Local Steals and Deals? My Magic Carpet. This is made to go in the washing machine. It's made for that. It has a special backing. Wait till you hear about it. Beautiful patterns, 3 different sizes. This one was on the floor in my kitchen in front of my sink. Now I have them everywhere. They are beautiful in your home, and they are such a great peace of mind. Please say hello to my new best friend who made this all possible, Mike.
We wanted a rug where it had some type of layer between the top fabric and the bottom, so that if there was a spill or an accident, it wouldn't seep through to the hard surface flooring. And so anyway, they came up with this waterproof barrier. So the features of the rug is that it's stain resistant, it's non-slip, it's got a waterproof barrier, and so it's kid friendly and pet friendly, and just a great solution for every household.
Thank you so much, Mike. I love this concept, and I know you will too. I also love the fact that right now on localsteals.com, you can get these at 20 to 25% off. Beautiful styles, 3 different sizes, and machine washable. You're gonna love it.
Well, for the past several years, Plexiderm has made it possible for people to look their best, up facial imperfections without spending hundreds of dollars. Well, today we have lifestyle consultant Scott DeFalco that's joining us to talk about a lot of the common beliefs that people have about the way they look and how Plexiderm turns them upside down, making you look your best regardless of your age. Hey, Scott, glad to have you back.
Ken, great to see you all the way from Los Angeles. I might look better upside down. I don't know.
Oh, I don't think so. Well, I want you to tell us about these common misconceptions that people have about Plexiderm and their age.
Well, honestly, people get the idea in their head that just because of their age, they can't get rid of their wrinkles. In fact, a lot of our customers complain about this, that they're too old, they have too many wrinkles, there's nothing they can do about it. And these people are only in their 50s and 60s, Ken. So I brought this time lapse of Laura. And she's one of our new models. You remember we had Richie Bag, Sweet Georgine. This is Lucky Laura.
Right.
And she came in with problem areas really all over her face. We put the Plexiderm's new rapid reduction serum. We sped this up to 20 seconds, Kent, but in real time, it was only a minute and a half. She literally looks 10 to 20 years younger in just under 2 minutes. It's incredible. And we have people of all ages, really 20 to 100, depending on lifestyle choices, genetics, could have allergies. Maybe you didn't get a lot of sleep. These key signs of aging can show up. And I brought another time lapse. This is Samantha. She's in her 30s. And you see it right here. She had the problem with the under eye bags and dark circles. And you don't hear it here, but in our testimonial for our infomercial, she talks about her kids and how they tell her, Mom, you look tired, you look old, when she takes them out to the bus stop in the morning. But since she's been using her Plexiderm, they don't say that anymore. And you can see what it did for her.
That's incredible. And for a lot of people, this is working. Why is it so effective?
Well, it's really our new ingredients, Kent. We're still deriving silicates from the shell rock. You see her, I have behind me on my fireplace. But we've added peptides and collagen to our new serum. So when you're talking peptides and collagen, we're talking moisture and firmness. So that's why the product is working quicker than our prior Cream Plus, which in 2018 was award winning, but it's also lasting longer. Our prior Cream Plus, the results were 6 to 8 hours. This new serum up to 10 hours, Kent.
Well, and I know you had this new $14.95 10-minute challenge. Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah, it's the Plexiderm Pick Me Up 10-minute challenge. We're going to visibly reduce those key signs of aging like the under eye bags, the forehead lines, and the crow's feet within 10 minutes. And here it is right here, the Plexiderm 6-application trial pack. Like you mentioned, $14.95 plus free shipping. There are the 6 applications right there. So it's a real inexpensive way for people to try it to see how great it can be for them.
Today, you can try Plexiderm for just $14.95. And that includes free shipping. Visit plexidermtrial.com, plexidermtrial.com, or you can call the number on your screen. Again, go to plexidermtrial.com or call 1-800-975-8323. All right, friends, let's take a look at the weather, which yesterday was so nice. I want to go back in time because it was just beautiful. Today's not bad, though. Temperature downtown is up to 55, and we're in the mid to upper 50s. I think we're going to kind of stay there and maybe drop off a little bit this afternoon now that the front is through, but plenty of sunshine across the area as this cooler air tries to move in. Well, we're looking at lows tonight in the 20s and really not much of a wind chill to worry about. We are looking at a little bit of rain by Friday night, and you can see that moving across the area into Saturday morning.
Kent Earhart, you keep bringing the above average temperatures, and nobody will complain about a little bit of rain here and there. Okay? Have a great day, St. Louis. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching KMOV News 4. Watch us live wherever you are on our mobile, on our streaming news app. And you can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.